How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Yud Beis, Daf 12 of Masechta Sotah. Friends. Today I've got a Gevaldig Daf for you, friends. Gevaldig, Mamish Gevaldig. We're continuing about stuff related to Moshe and Mitzrayim and Pari and Miriam, Amram. Gevaldig Daf, Gevaldig Daf. We're going to start on Daf Yud Aleph from the Beis, 3 lines from the bottom. V'cholev ben Chetzrin holid es Azuva. Okay, so the first part of the daf we're going to discuss these like funny kind of psukim. Where are they from? Like Divrei Yomim or something? And we're going to I don't know, like read all sorts of things into them. However, today my mishpach is coming to Eretz Yisrael, which means that for the next 2 weeks or so, there's going to be door slamming, yelling, and guest appearances by my sister-in-law Ashley and maybe my mom. Oh, my brother Chesky and his wife Tali and the baby Evie, they're coming. Maybe they'll be on the show also. So we'll see. Whoever makes the mistake of coming close to me when I'm recording gets in. The thing is, I don't actually know where I'm going to be recording yet because they're kicking me out of the house. So I'm going to be staying somewhere else. So I don't even know where I'm going to be recording yet, Lamaisa. So maybe they won't see me. Alright. V'cholev ben Chetzrin holid es Azuva Isha v'Sirios ve'ele bonea Yesher v'Shova ve'Ardon. Okay. Kalev, the son of Chetzrin, gave birth to Azuva, the wife. We're gonna explain all these in like expounding kind of ways. Ve'Sirios and Yirios ve'ele bonea. These were her sons. Yesher v'Shova ve'Ardon. Ben Chetzrin. So we say that Kalev is the son of Chetzrin. Ben Yefuna, what do you mean he's the son of Chetzrin? It's Kalev ben Yefuna. Ben Shepona Me'atzas Meraglim. No, really his name is Kalev ben Chetzrin, but we call him Yefuna because Shepona Me'atzas Meraglim. He turned away from the interesting. He turned away from the advice of the spies. There's some noise outside, but nothing major. Okay. Where am I? Okay, so really his name is Kalev ben Chetzrin, but it says Ben Yefuna ben Shepona Me'atzas Meraglim, that he turned away from the advice of the spies. Vakati ben Knazu, but still, Kalev is the son of Knaz. And the Chsiv, the Apostle says, Vayikuda Osniel ben Knaz, Achi Kalev, that Osniel ben Knaz captured, what did he capture? What did he capture? What did Osniel ben Knaz capture? Not sure. But it says Asniel ben Knaz, the brother of Kalev. So apparently Kalev's father was not Chetzrin, it was Knaz. Omer Rav Chorgo de Knaz Hava. Kalev was the stepson of Knaz, but the real father, his actual father, biological father, was Chetzrin. You can also infer that Knaz was only Kalev's stepfather, as the Pasuk says, Aknizi. That the Knizi, it doesn't say that he's not like the son of Knaz, but Kniz-ish. Like he was a stepson of Knaz, from that family. Azuva Zomirim. So now, when it says that, it says, Holid es Azuva, he gave birth to Azuva. Azuva is a reference to Miriam, who was his wife. The Gemara is going to ask, what do you mean he gave birth to her? It's his wife. So, Zo Miriam, Azuva, then why is she called Azuva? Shakol Azavua mitchila, so that initially, nobody wanted to marry Miriam. She was very sickly. Holid v'ha minsav hava. Right, so it says she's azuva because she was left. She was abandoned. Nobody was interested in marrying her. Holid v'alo minsav hava nosivla. What do you mean that Kalev gave birth to Miriam? He was Miriam's husband. Omer Reb Yochanan kol anose isha l'shem shamayim ma'ala olav akosav kuli yilada. If a fellow marries a woman for the intent of heaven, so then it's as if he gave birth to that woman. Yirios shehayu ponei adom l'Yirios. When it says Yirios, it's also a reference to Miriam because her face was as pale as undyed curtains. Ve'ele bonea, these were her sons. Atuka bonea ele bonea. Don't say that these were her sons, rather her builders. Right? It's a reference once again to Kalev. That Kalev brought her back to life. Nursed her back to health. Is that the right word? Yesher es atzmo. Yesher is a reference to Kalev because he straightened himself out against the advice of the spies. Shovav sheshibe vesitzro, that he overcame, that he took care of his Yetzer Hara again, so that he wouldn't be sucked in to the scheme of the spies. The Ardon Shiroda Esitzro, and Ardon also that he ruled over his Yetzer Hara again in the context of the spies. Some say that when it says Ardon, actually it's a reference to Miriam, that her face was like a rose. That once she became healthy again, her face was like that of a rose. Ashcher, the father of Tkoa, had two wives, Chala and Naira. Their names were Chala and Naira. So now we again expound this verse. Ashcher is a Kalev. We say Ashcher is a reference to Kalev. Ashcher Ashcher is Kalev. He's called Kalev because his face became black from all of his fasting that he did. Avi shenaiselo ki'av, like that he became to Miriam like a father, right? Like that he brought her back to health. Tkoya shetoka es libo la'aviv shebashamayim. Tkoya that he committed, let's say, his heart to his father in heaven, again, by not getting sucked in to the scheme of the spies. He had two wives. So it doesn't mean that he had two wives. He had one wife. He was married to Miriam. But nice Miriam kishtei noshim. That Miriam was like two wives in that there was Chala and Naira. Right? Lo Chala and Naira avoy el betchila Chala v'sof Naira. Right? So these weren't two people, Chala and Naira. It's all a reference to Miriam, but initially she was Chala. Initially she was sickly. And then Naira. And then she became healthy like a Naira. Uvnei Chala Tseres v'Tzohar, but really it's Tzohar v'Esnon. So Tseres shenaise tzar l'chavosel, that Miriam, it's a reference to Miriam that once she became healthy and beautiful, so then she was like a competition, like a co-wife, like a tzara that we know from Yevamis for all of the other women. Tzohar shayu panei adom l'katzoraim, that her face was like the afternoon radiance. Esnon shekalaruah osa molech esnon lishto, that anybody who would see Miriam, all of a sudden this individual would rush home and buy all sorts of presents for his wife to entreat her to have conjugal relations, because after having seen Miriam, he needed to run home to do this. Okay. Vayitzav Paro l'chol amo. Paro commanded all of his nation that any boy needs to be killed in the sea. What? I thought I turned off the... Oh, man. Excuse me. I need to turn off the sounds. I thought I had turned off the sounds. Sounds, turn off. No. Now I'm going to be distracted. Oh, no. Now I'm going to be distracted. Somebody's writing me a message. Oh, no. Oh, gosh. Why do you think that I'm going to prioritize that right now? I think it's fine, but that's not what I'm working on right now. Okay, let's go weiter. Okay, where are we? Okay, V'etzav Paro l'chol amo. Amar Reb Yossi Reb Chanina. Where am I? Okay, fine. So af al amo gozer. Oh, so he wow. So he even commanded for his own people. I get so distracted by that stuff. So even his own people had to throw their own Egyptian babies into the water. Oh, that's talking interesting. Okay. Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina says Shalosh Gezeros Gazar, that there were three decrees. Batrila imbenu ba'amiten. Also, initially it was any Jewish boys you have to kill, but he wasn't necessarily enforcing it so much. I guess you're on the honor system. Levasov, you're on the honor system to kill your own babies. Levasov kol abena yiloda yor tashlichu. But then it became more serious, and they started enforcing it with officers and stuff. Levasov af al amo gazer. And then in the final on the day that Moses was that Paro's astrologers astrologized that Moses was going to be born, then that day there was no taking any chances. All baby boys, Egyptian, Israelite, all of them drown in the water. So it says that a fellow from the house of Levi went. Where did he go? Amr Yehuda bar Zvina shalach ba'atzas bito. That he, who's he? Amram. Amram, Moses' father, followed the advice of his daughter Miriam. Tana Amram Gadol Hador Hoyo. Amram was the Gadol Hador in Mitzrayim. Kevan Shegazar Pari Harasha. So the reason why I said Gazar is because in parentheses it says Shira She'omar, and it's in parentheses, so we don't read it, and I have a note there that changed it to Gazar. Kevan Shegazar Pari Harasha Kol Abena Yilod Ayora Tashichu. Once Pari decreed that Paro, the evil Nudnik, decreed that any boy needs to be thrown into the water. Amar Lashov Anu Amel. So Amram says, what are we wasting our time having children if they're all going to be killed? Amad V'geresh Asishto. So he divorced Yocheved. So if the Gadol Hador is divorcing his wife in this situation, so they all followed suit and they divorced their wives as well. Amra Lobito, Miriam says to Amram, Abba, your edict, your decree is worse than even Paro's decree. Paro only decreed that the boys need to be drowned in the water. And you, Amram, you are making a decree against all potential babies, that there's not going to be any babies, boy or girl. Paro only made a gzera in olam hazeh. Right, but any of these babies who are born, they could still go to Olam Haba, but you are preventing children from being born at all, and they won't be able to go to Olam Hazeh or Olam Haba. Para Roshe, Sofik Miskayemes, Gzerasu Sofik Enu Miskayemes. Now, Para the Nudnik, maybe his decree will be Mekuyim, maybe not. Ato Tzadik, but you are a righteous man, and therefore certainly your decree will happen, and definitely people will not be having babies anymore. Shneimar, as the pasuk says, "Vatigzar Omer v'yakum lach." It says by a tzaddik that they decree and it happens. Omad ve'echzir es ishto. So Amram heeded his daughter Miriam's advice, and he remarried Yocheved. So everybody did the same. Everybody followed suit, and everybody remarried their wives. What is it? So why does it say Why did it say that he took? He returned. He went back to his wife. Not that he got married for the first time. Omar le Yehuda bar Zavina she'asa lo ma'isi lekuchin, that he made it as if they were getting married for the first time. Moshiva ba'apirion, she sat in a sedan chair, I guess some kind of fancy thing. I was at a chasna last week. I think I missed, of course, that part, but I think the kala was sitting in possibly a sedan chair. Aharon and Miriam raked in lefonav, and Aharon and Miriam were dancing before her. Malachi Ashares Amru, and the ministering angel said, Imabonim Smecha, that the mother of the children is happy. At es bas Levi, she took the bas, right, Amram went and married bas Levi. Efsher bas mea v'shloshim shana havya v'kar la bas. Yocheved was 130 years old at the time. You call her bas Levi, she's 130 years old. She's like a girl. She's an elderly woman. That says Reb Chaim Rab Chanina that Yocheved was conceived outside of Egypt, but she was born between the walls when entering Egypt. Shenemar Asher Yolda Osa LeLevi b'Mitzrayim, that she was born to Levi in Egypt. Leidasa b'Mitzrayim v'Inarasa b'Mitzrayim, that she was where am I? That she was born in Egypt, but she was not conceived in Egypt. That basically, when the Bnei Yisrael went into Egypt, right? Because the shaila is, it says that there were 70 people, 70 of the members of Bnei Yisrael who went into Egypt. But if you count everybody, it's only 69. So who's the 70th? it's Yocheved who was born when they entered in. So now, if she was born when they came to Egypt, and they were in Egypt for 210 years, so Memele, Moshe, who was 80 years old when they left 210 years later, when he was born 80 years prior, 210 minus 80 is 130. So his mother, who was born when they went into Egypt, was 130 at the time. So Amar Yehuda Shenoduba Simone Nairis, that she became very young, and she was like Bas Levi. Vatara Isha Vateled Bain, and okay, so they got remarried, and then Yocheved conceived, and she gave birth to a son, to Moses. But actually, interestingly, she was actually already 3 months pregnant when they got remarried. Amar Rabbi Yehuda Bar Zavina Makish Leidasel Araso. Well, when it says Vatara Isha Vateled Ben, what the pasuk is doing is it's comparing her birth, right, when she birthed Moses, to when she conceived Moses. Just like when she conceived Moses, it was without pain. Also when she birthed Moses, it was without pain. So that teaches that the righteous women were not included in the curse of Eve, that childbirth would be difficult. Righteous women do not experience difficult childbirth. Vateri also ki tov, and she saw that Moses, when he was born, was good. Ki tovu, that he was good. Tani Reb Meir Omer Tov Shmo. Reb Meir says that Moses' name is not Moses, it's Tov. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Tuvia Shmo. Rabbi Yehuda says that Moses' name is Tuvia. Rabbi Nechemia Omer Hagun the Nevius. Rabbi Nechemia says, what does it mean that he was Tovi? He's fit for prophecy. Acherim Om Nolad Kshumohu. That Acherim says that he was already born with a bris milah. V'achacham Omim B'shasha Nolad Moshe Nismale Abayis Kulo Or. And the sages say that when Moses was born, the entire house filled up with light. It says over here, Vater also Kitov. It says that she saw that he was good. Who? And it says by the creation of the world, of the universe, Vayar Elokim as Or Kitov, that the Eibusher saw that the light was good. So when it says Tov by Moshe, it means that the house was filled up with light. And she hid him for 3 months after he was born. Because the Mitzrim, when they were counting to figure out when was the baby going to be born so that they could drown him in the river, they only counted from when they got remarried. So now she was already, but she was already 3 months pregnant at the time that they got married. So she had from 6 months later, after 9 months of pregnancy, she gave birth, but it was only 6 months after her remarriage, which means that she had 3 months to be able to hold on to Moses before they came looking for him. And she was unable to hide him anymore. Why couldn't she hide him anymore? Keep on hiding him, just like you hid him for 3 months. Keep on hiding him weiter. Keep on hiding him weiter. Ella kol heicha davu shame mitzroi demisilid yinuka. Well, because the Egyptians were real nudniks, and whenever they would hear that a Jewish woman was going to be, an Israelite woman was going to be giving birth, so they would bring babies around to that area so that the babies would kind of cry to each other, and they would be able to use their own Egyptian babies to kind of find the Jewish babies. That these nudniks trapped us with foxes. And I guess that's a reference to this scheme. And Yocheved made a wicker basket. My shna gome, how come she used wicker? Amr Reb Elazar mikan tzadikim shemamonam chaviv alein yosim migufan. Well, we learn from here that for the righteous, their money is more precious to them than their bodies, and therefore Yocheved was interested in using a material that was very inexpensive, so that to save money. Why are the righteous so concerned about saving money? Because they don't steal. they're very makbid not to steal, and therefore whatever money they have is very precious to them, and therefore they don't want to spend it unnecessarily. Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani Omar, says Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani, davar rach she'achol lamud b'fnei davar rach u'b'fnei davar kosher. Says Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani that the reason why wicker was used because it's something soft that would be able to adapt, right? That would be able to withstand both interacting with hard things as well as soft things. And they covered it in clay and tar. Tana chemer mibifnim, clay inside, v'zefes mibachutz, and tar on the outside. Kedei shelo yiriach oso tzaddik reach ra. The reason why the tar was on the outside was so that Moses, the tzaddik, would not have to smell the tar, and instead the clay was on the inside. Batosim basa yoled, batosim basuf, and Yocheved put Moses into the basket and put the basket into the suf. Rabbi Elazar Omer Yam Suf. Rabbi Elazar says, what was this suf? It was the sea of reeds. Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani Omar Agam. Shmuel bar Nachmani says it was a marsh. A marsh. Kedichsev, the pasuk says, "Konev asuf kamelu," that reeds and thin willows will wither. So I guess suf is a reference to like willows and the swampy, willow, marshy area. Batered bas Paro lechotz ala yaor, and the daughter of Paro, Basya, went down to bathe by the river. Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Shim ben Yochai Melamed sheyarder lechotz migilulei avia, that she was actually going down to go to the mikveh to convert to monotheism. And similarly it says Imrochas Hashem es tzoyas benos Tzion v'gomer, right? It refers to washing away the dirt, kind of washing away filth and dirt. So she was washing away her ways of avodah zarah in order to accept the ways of monotheism in the Eibishter. And she was walking with her assistants, attendants. Rabbi Yochanan in Alichazo Lashon Misa. Says Rabbi Yochanan, when it says that her attendants were walking, it means that they were on their way to death. And similarly it says Hine Anochi Holech Lomus, that behold, I am going to die. Behold, I am going to die. Behold, I am going to die. Right? Esav says that. Right? When Yaakov requests to purchase the Bechorah, Esav says, "Look, I'm going to die anyways. Why do I need it?" So we say, right? So we see Holech Lamus, that walking is, in context of death. So these attendants were about to be killed. Vater es ateva basoch asuf, and Basparo saw the basket in the water. And when the attendants saw that Basya wanted to save Moses, Amula, they said to Basya, excuse me, minhagu shel olam melech basav adam gozer gzera, that generally, rationally, the way of the world is that if the king makes an edict, im kol olam kulo ein mekaymen osa, even if the entire world is going to ignore it, but at least banav v'nei besu mekaymen osa, at least the king's children and the people of his household will uphold the edict. Ve'at overes agzeres ovich, and you are simply violating the decree of your father that you're going to save this Jewish baby. But Gavriel v'chovton bakarka, and Gavriel killed these attendants. Vatishlach es hamosa vatikochel, and she sent her Amma, and she took Moses. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Nechemi, Chad Omer, Yodav, Chad Omer, Shivchosa. So the question is, what's her Amma? She sent her Amma. What's her Amma? So one opinion is that she extended her arm. The other opinion is that she sent her attendant. Mandomer Yoda Tichsiv Amoso. So according to the opinion who says that it's a reference to her hand, is because it says Amosa, and Amosa means her hand. Manda Omar Shivchosa, and according to the opinion who says that she sent her attendant, Midloksiv Yoda, because it doesn't say Yoda, it doesn't say her hand, it says Amosa, so therefore it means her attendant. But one second, according to the opinion who says that she sent her attendant, didn't we just say that Gavriel killed her attendants? The Shire Lachada, well, Gavriel left one attendant to Lo Orcha de Bas Malka Lemekam Lechuda, because it's not proper for the princess to be alone, so therefore he killed all the attendants but left one so that she should still have an attendant. According to the opinion who says that am also means her hand, why not just write yada? That it teaches that that her hand extended. The Amar that we say by the scepter of Achashverosh, that it extended. We say there that this also you see by the arm of Basparo, that it extended. You also see this by the teeth of the nudniks. They have broken the teeth of the nudniks. Don't read that you broke it, but rather that you extended. The Gemara continues, that she opened up the basket and she saw the yingle. It should say that she saw the yingle, not that she saw him, the yingle. So what does it mean that she saw him? That she saw that the divine presence was with Moses. It says that a lad was crying. You just called him a yeled, like an infant, and then you called him a lad, which is older. He was an infant, but his voice was that of a young man. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda, that is Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. Ibn Nechemia says to Rabbi Yehuda, well, if so, then you're making Moshe Rabbeinu a balmum, that he's an infant with the voice of a young man. Rather, what does it mean that he was a na'ar? That his mother, when she inside the basket, she made a chuppah, a marriage canopy, a chuppahs neurim. Beteva amra shemalo ezke l'chuppah. So she said, look, I might miss his chasana, so I want to at least make a little chasana in the teva. Vatachma alel olav, and Basya had mercy on Moses. Vatomer miyadu ivrim zeh, and she said that this baby is a Jewish baby. Mina yada. How did she know that she was a Jewish baby? So I was thinking, what do you mean, how did she know she was a Jewish baby? Isn't it obvious? Who else is going to, in desperation, put her baby in a basket and send him down the river? But remember earlier today, I said, that makes sense. Well, we said earlier today that on the day that Moses was born, or at least that they thought that Moses was going to be born, I guess, Paro made the decree against even the Egyptian babies. So I guess maybe it was possible that maybe this was an Egyptian baby. That's what I'm thinking. So how did she know that that was not the case, that Moses was Jewish? Well, she saw that he had a bris milah. So Memele, she assumed he was Jewish. Zeh, when she says zeh, right, miyad ivrim zeh, this is, Rabbi Yochanan melamish nisnaba shalom idaita. So Rabbi Yochanan says that she unintentionally prophesied. What was the prophecy? Zeh nofel ve'ein acher nofel. This will be the last baby put into the river. Behind the Amar Rabbi Elazar, and this is what Rabbi Elazar said. Ma'adichsiv. What does the pasuk mean? Right, because after that day, there were no longer babies that were thrown into the river to drown. Because Ma'adichsiv, what does the pasuk mean? That they say to you, go and seek counsel from the necromancers. It means that they see stuff, but they don't know exactly what they're seeing. They say stuff, but they don't exactly know what they're saying. Right, so the astrologers of Pharaoh, so they saw that, so they were able to see some vision that Moses, that the leader of Israel, would be stricken in water. They saw that. So therefore, they said, okay, throw all of the boys into the water. But once Moses was put in the water, in the basket, Amru Sulo Chazinon, they say, okay, well, that's it. We don't see anything else. That was it. And right? Sulo Chazinon, we don't see anything anymore. Badu l'gzera sayu. So they said, okay, we don't need the gezerah anymore. But while they saw that the leader of Israel would be punished in water, their vision was nonetheless short-sighted. But what they do not know is that Moses was not going to be punished right now in these waters, but rather he was going to be punished regarding the Mei Meriva, regarding the rock, when he hit the rock. This is what Reb Chaim Reb Chanina says, what does it mean? These are the Mei Meriva. That implies that we know what these Mei Meriva are, right? These are the Mei Meriva. Right? If I say to you, oh, look who it is. Oh, that's so-and-so. That implies that you know who so-and-so is. So these are the Mei Meriva. What Mei Meriva? Hema Sharo, it's Tadnine Paro Vito. It's the Mei Meriva that the astrologers of Paro saw and made a mistake about. Moshe, and this is what Moshe says, that there are 600,000 people on my account. Moses said to Israel, that you're all saved because of me. That once I was put into the water, all of you were then allowed to live. Reb Chanina bar Pape Omar says, Reb Chanina bar Pape also ayom esim ve'echad benisin hayom. That day that Moses was put into the river in the basket was the 21st of Nisan, was the last day of Pesach, the day of Kriyas Yamsuf. Amru Malachi Asharis Lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the ministering angels said before the Eibishter, Ribeinu Shaleilam, Master of the world, Misha Asid Lomar Shira Alayom Bayom Zeh, Yiloka Bayom Zeh. Moses, who in the future is going to say Shira Sayom on this day, he's going to be killed on this day in the water. Reb Achab Reb Chanina Omar, it says also Ayom Shisha B'Sivan Hoya. That day was the 6th day of Sivan. Amru Malachi Ashar Lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the ministering angels said before the Eibishter, Ribono Shel Olam, the Master of the world, Misha Aseh L'Kabel Teireh Me'ar Sinai B'Yom Zeh. He who is going to receive the Teireh from Har Sinai on this day, Yiloka B'Yom Zeh, will be smitten on this day. So one second, I understand if we say that the day that Moses was put into the basket in the water was the 6th day of Sivan, that taka makes sense because we said that he was 3 months old at the time, that his mother had hid him for 3 months before putting him into the river. The Omar Mar B'Shiva Ba'adar Meis B'Shiva Ba'adar Nolad Moshe, that Moses was born and died on the 7th of Adar. B'Shiva Ba'adar Vad Shisha B'Sivan Tlasa Yarchei. And if you go from the 7th of Adar to Nisan, Iyar, and then Sivan, the 6th of Sivan is the last day of 3 months since Moses was born. So that makes sense. But if you say it's the 21st of Nisan, how does that make sense? He was born in Adar. Nisan is the next month. How could it be 3 months? Osa Shana Mu'beres. I said, well, that year was a Shana Mu'beres, which means that there were taka 2 others. Rubo Shalrishan, which means that if he was born on the 7th day of Adar, so you have the majority of the first Adar, Rubo Shal Achron, and we're saying it's the 21st of Nisan, so you have the majority of Nisan as well, the Emtsoi Yishalim in the entire Adar Sheni. So therefore, it's Be'etzem 3 months. Vatomer Achoso El Basparo, Miriam then said to Basparo, should I go and find for you a wet nurse from the Jews? How come it had to be a Jewish wet nurse? That Basia was passed Moses around to all of the Egyptian nurses, and Velo Yonak, Moses refused to nurse. The mouth that in the future was going to speak with the divine presence was going to nurse from milk that was coming from a body that was eating tamei foods. And this is what the Pasuk says: "As mi yoredeh v'gomer, lemi yoredeh lemi yavin shmua," who teaches knowledge and understands things. L'gmulei mechalav v'latike mishadayim, from he who held himself back from milk. Vatomer Basparo lechi. Basparo says, yes, go. V'gomer, and it says that the Alma went, right, referring to Miriam. Omer belazum lam shahoch b'zvizus ka'ama, that she went with vigor, with right, quickly, with haste, like a young girl. That she hid her words, that she did, she concealed the fact that she was actually Moses' sister and that she was going to go and get Moses' mother. Vatomer Basparo, and Basparo says to Miriam, Helichi es hayeled, take this child. Hazeh Omar Reb Chanina misnaba ve'enu yodas ma nisnaba, that once again, Basya prophecy, but she didn't realize, Helichi ha shalichi. She was saying, this is yours. Right, Moses is your brother. And I will give you, I will pay you. Not only for the righteous do they return to them their lost object, that Yocheved got back Moses, but that not only that, they actually get paid to get their lost object back, as we see that she got paid to nurse her own son. Vatikach Miriam Anavia Achos Aharon V'Gomer. It says by Kriyas Yamsuf, after Kriyas Yamsuf, that Miriam, the prophetess, the sister of Aharon, took Achos Aharon V'Lachos Moshe. What, the sister of Aharon, not the sister of Moses? Amrav Amram, Amarav, V'Amrila Amrav Nachman Amarav, Lam Chahosim Isnaba Kshi Achos Aharon. She was prophesying specifically when she was the sister of Aharon. Ve'omeris, and she said, Asida imi shetelid ben, that in the future my mother is going to give birth to a yingel, Shomoshiach Yisrael, who's going to save Israel. Moshe, and when Moses was born, Nismalikola Bayis Kula, the entire house filled up or with light. Amravia Vinoshka Unshaka Arosha. Amram kissed Miriam on the head, Omarla, and he said to her, Biti, Niskami Nevuasech, that your prophecy has come true, that this son is going to save Israel. But then, 3 months later, when Moses was put in the basket and let go into the river, Omar Avia Utfacha Al Rosha, Amram tapped her on the head, and he said to her, Biti, where is your prophecy? And this is what the Apostle says, that Miriam followed the basket and stood from a distance, to know what will happen to it, to understand, to know what's going to be with her prophecy about her brother saving Israel. Friends, that was Daf Yud Beis Masechta Sotah. Very interesting daf, all about the beginning. There was stuff about Kalev and Miriam, but then lots of stuff about Amram and Yocheved and Moshe. Very, very interesting stuff. I hope you enjoyed Daf Yud Beis of Masechta Sotah. Peace out.